It's time for the Craig Reed Show. Craig Reed, the world famous roadie. If you guys want to look Craig Reed up, the Stone Roadie, go to Craig Reed, world famous roadie. You can do an internet search, go on there, like and subscribe, and Craig appreciates that. And Craig and I were talking earlier, and Craig was saying, "Man, there's a lot of questions coming up on Facebook from a lot of the fan sites." And Craig said, "I want to go ahead and answer some of those questions." So we went through some questions. I actually have it on my phone here. I have the page pulled up from Facebook, and there's a lot of really great questions on there. We're going to take some time. We don't know how long, how many we can do, because we try to keep these. Craig wants to keep these around 20 minutes, but we may go over a little bit today. And the other thing Craig wanted to mention was, when we put these things out on the day that we do them, it's going to be loaded up into YouTube and on Facebook later, because the light in Craig's window is so bright, and as the day goes on, it seems like the sun's going down later. So we're gonna get to some questions, and before we start, Craig, I was talking to Craig earlier about that gold album on his wall back there, and I said, "Where did you get that at?" And he had an interesting story. You want to tell where that gold record came from behind you, Craig?
Well, that's the first one. Actually, I wasn't with the band when usually get them when you work for the band and and they give you one of those promoting that record, But I actually started with them for the second album, but when I was they got that album when I was working with them, and Ronnie. Remember when Ronnie first got it, he was so proud of it. Him and Judy come over to my house or my apartment over at Cedar Cove, where all of us had lived at one time or in the history, and come up the steps, and he had that. I opened the door, and he had that record in his hand. And he handed it to me, and I thought he was handing it to me like it was mine. I went over. I goes, "Oh, that's gonna look good on my wall." I put it up on my wall like that, and I noticed it said Ronnie Van Zant on. So I kind of figured real quick it wasn't mine. So, but yeah, so I gave it to him. He gave me a funny look, but then he gave me one, I guess. But he gave everybody one that was worked for the band at that time. Joe got one, Kevin got one, Dean got one, and all the crew. John Butler, I guess, was with. I don't think no John Butler wasn't with us then, but yeah, I'm glad y'all came to my home tonight. That's how I'm gonna treat y'all from now on. I'm not gonna sit here and try to act like somebody else. I'm just gonna treat y'all like y'all just stopped by, and like a lot of people bring by people by, and they're kind of amused to meet me. So I just sit here and entertain them. So that's kind of how we're gonna kind of work this. Before I'm not good at trying to be somebody I'm not. So I'm just sitting here like I'd be sitting at home if y'all weren't here watching me, and we're just gonna move on with this. So, but one thing, yeah, that's about the only thing I got to say about this. These podcasts. I've been telling you about. We're gonna get into the Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff. I just want to work on this a little bit. These podcasts, man. I watch these podcast things about how to do a podcast 101, and God, I missed it. What are you guys doing? Hush, hush, hush. I missed they're a bit watchdogs. Look out for them. Well, they hear everything. You can't come up here, they don't hear nothing. But the first thing them podcasts, how to do a podcast things are, is they teach you, don't try to be somebody else. Don't watch a podcast and try to be Rush Limbaugh or Joe Rogan or Russell Brand or any of those. They're like Rush Bob. Don't try to be the best. Unless you think you can be. But just it's better being unique. you know, be yourself than be the best. You know, you're the best. You're the number one, and if you're unique, you're the only one. You know, so we're gonna go with that because I'm damn sure I'm not gonna be the best, but I can be pretty unique. You know, so we're just gonna roll with that. You know, I think I'm better off with that. So I'm not going to try to be anybody else. Not like that I was before, but I'm just going to be. Don't worry about it, man. You know, I didn't start doing this. You know, it never was on my bucket list to be a broadcaster. So it's not something that I have been dying to do. Like I said, that guy called me and I got interested, and I said I'd get this equipment and do a podcast. You know, and so I soaked a couple of G's into it. That's a couple grand, not a couple of grams for you Coke dealers, you know. So you know, so I kind of, you know, I did that, and then I go, well, I ain't got that kind of money to do this, and not use it, you know. So it's kind of like buying a Les Paul and not being able to play the damn thing, you know. It's kind of like shit, you know. What am I doing? So you know, and then I started to use this stuff, and then I was, you know, I'm not capable, and that kind of irritates me, you know. I mean, even at 71 years old, I want to improve myself every day. I'm not going to lay down and die. I got one life to live. I'm still living it, man. A lot of you people 50 years old, overweight, and say, I'm too damn old to change, you know. You go on with your bad self, you know. I'm gonna hoop it up till I'm gonna be a dirty old man till I'm a dead old man, you know. Hey, but anyways, I'm just gonna be myself, and you're just gonna sit here in this chair, and I'm gonna entertain you for about 20 minutes, and that's the way we're gonna roll with this, because, you know, like I said, this wasn't on my bucket list to do this, and I want to. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it, and. You know, I've been waking up in the morning thinking about what am I going to say on the podcast, you know. And that ain't the way I want to roll this thing, man. I just want to, Griff's going to call me every day, and I'm going to sit out there on my simulator and try to, you know, think about some stuff you guys have asked, because I already know some of these, and I'm pretty much ready to just roll with it, you know. But, God, I go in there and get in that hot tub. I learned about that today, man. I had this thing all worked out, and I got in there, and God dang, somebody squirted damn WD all over the hinges, and shit, doors are flying open, and I got stuff in my head, my brain's going, Greg, what's going on? You got all this shit going on in here, man. You used to be, you know, cool all day. Now you got all this. What the hell? Who's all these people you be talking about in here? You know, and it's kind of nuts. But yeah, we're gonna roll with that. So let's go on. Let's go take the first question there, Griff.
Okay, and before I ask these questions, I'd just like to throw a little shout out to Karen Weber. She runs these
Karen.
fan sites, and she does a great job. I don't know how she keeps track of all of those fan sites, and she does a really, really great job. And she posts all of she forwards all of Craig's YouTube links on there, and that's why we got so many questions. So thank you, Karen. We appreciate you. So I'm going to run through. There's quite a bit of questions here. Let me see here. Okay. There's a question. Somebody wanted to talk about Steve and Cassie. I think we did that pretty much on the last podcast. And then somebody mentioned meeting John Lennon. I think Craig's covered that a little bit. I think we'll have to put that on.
Yeah, one of my Facebook friends asked that, and I think we did that one on the first one that my camera was kind of messed up, so I had to get that other camera, and we just kind of used that for a. Yeah. So only people on Facebook saw that, but we can do that one again.
Yeah, we'll go back to that one. But if you want to look at what he said and you didn't see it, go to the first podcast.
That wasn't the first one. That was a demo. We never numbered that one.
Yeah,
I don't believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was but that's only on Facebook. We didn't post that one on YouTube.
All right. Let me see here. What about we got one from Frankie Turner, and he asks, what was the vibe the day everyone found out Ed King had just got up and left the band in the middle of the night?
Wow. My room was right across. We were like in the elevator right there in the front where the rooms were kind of far apart. It wasn't really in the hallway. It was like I look out my peephole. It was like in a lobby type where the elevator just come around and the halls are wider. But Ed's room was right across. Either that or we were in a. Well, all that's all I remember was a big area, and it wasn't like right across the hall. But that was Ed's room, and God, man, that was crazy. I don't really remember, because all that stuff was just so ordinary, kind of. It was always chaos, and it was like no big deal to me, But yeah, something wrong with Ronnie. We had something irritated with Ed. I don't remember exactly why, but man, he was drunk, and he was like, just I don't know if he was trying to prove a point or whatever. It was just way ridiculous, and he was pounding on Ed's door and get out there, and Ed just kept the door closed, locked and bolted or whatever. So, that went on pretty much, show. We didn't get back to the hotel till. So it was 3 a.m. before Ronnie's carrying on, So, I crashed out, and I woke up in the morning. I saw the mate's cart there, and Ed's gone, and everybody else was asleep. Ed's gone, and that's really all I know about.
Are you the
that,
first one that noticed
I mean,
he was gone, Craig?
Huh?
Are you the first one that noticed he was gone?
Probably, yeah. Probably. I got up to pee or whatever, and I heard the maid over there. I was the only one up, I guess.
So did
Like
you
I said,
think
my room was right there across her hair, so I just kind of looked out and wondered what was going on. The maid's cart was there, and he was gone.
Did you think in your mind, oh shit, when Ronnie sees this, he's going to be pissed off?
Oh man, it was. It left Gary and Alan in a peculiar situation. I mean, they had to rework the song. I mean, we had shows, and we were right in the middle of a tour.
Wow, yeah.
And so they had to rework the shows. Yeah, it was. They had to step up and renegotiate, but they did it. And then we went a long time, as you know, without Ed, and they tried out everybody, Leslie West, and God, all the Outlaws had got up there and jammed, and but they needed another guitar player. But yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good. That was a good, quick answer, and I think that probably covered it. And then we got one here from David Hayes. This is a good question. David Hayes, I believe he lives in Jacksonville on the west side, and I think he knew Leon and Alan a little bit. He had a car stereo store or something back in the day.
Oh yeah. He put the stereo in Alan's coupe, the one I had. Yeah, I still got the amp and the speakers and everything.
David Hayes is his name. He's a pretty
yeah. I still got those speakers and the amplifier and everything.
Oh really? What?
Yeah. I still have I still have the CB Cobra CB with a cassette player in it and everything that was in the Oldsmobile Tornado when Alan gave it to me for my birthday. 81 Oldsmobile Tornado. It was brand new then. He never drove it. I drove it. I chauffeured him around in it. So finally he gave it to me.
Okay. He asked, how many vehicles did Lynyrd Skynyrd destroy? Did he, let me see. Did he enjoy Alan at the wheel? Did you enjoy Alan at the wheel? And how many vehicles did you guys?
Yeah, let's talk about Alan at the wheel. My God. Whoa. Gary got a 400 Honda, and a couple of people out there remember this. And he brought it over to Leon's, and we had a party over there at Leon's house. I forget the name of that road. But they didn't know how to ride motorcycles. Everybody thought they were bikers and stuff. Man, they didn't know how to ride motorcycles. So Gary had that 400 Honda, so I put it it out in the street at Leon's, you know, and stood up on it and just revved it up and popped the clutch and just did a burnout. And they're going, how did you do that? You know, they did not do burnouts or nothing. So Alan went and got a damn 500 Kawasaki. I went, Alan, take it back to the store. Do not even attempt to do what I did on that. You will kill yourself, you know. And he didn't listen, and he messed up, and he got rid of it pretty soon. But it must have been that motorcycle that he had Allison on, and was riding that damn motorcycle with Allison between his legs. And he went around the curve at, I think it was the Jacobs Avenue where he lived, and she slid off into the street.
That was his daughter, right?
Yeah. Slid right off the motorcycle into the street. And then he had a black Lincoln Continental, and I don't remember him wrecking that. That was like the family car. That was the first, when he lived on Jacobs, that was the pimp mobile we used to when he had Alan and just Amy. Yeah, that was like a pimp mobile, black damn Lincoln Mark III or whatever, one of those. It was cool, but it was a pimp mobile, looked like, you know. So then, God, then what cars did he have? Oh, God, let me think. God, he wrecked the coupe that I got, the 32 Plymouth coupe. He wrecked that, and he never drove it after he wrecked it. Larkin kept putting it in the shop, and they just kept it there, said they couldn't get parts or whatever. And when he died, it was still in the garage, and it was kind of been sitting there for a long time, and I negotiated a deal to get the Mercedes. Gary wanted the Mercedes, and then he got the hot rod and the Mercedes, and then he ended up Gary gave me the 32 Plymouth, you know, and then he kept the Mercedes. Alan, when he got the Mercedes, it was during Rossington Collins or Alan Collins. I think it was even Alan Collins during then. Yeah, it had to have been. I was kind of more or less staying, living with him, because he was an alcoholic and he's shooting up the Ladas, and it was a mess. And I was Larkin had me living with him, and oh man, he pulled the 30 off the wall. He wanted me to go get him a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I wouldn't do it. And he pulled the 30 off the wall and pointed it at me, and he had a knife, and I think he had a knife one time, or I don't remember. I just might be a figment, but he did pull a gun on me and told me he was going to shoot me if I didn't go get him a bottle, and so he wanted to drive the Mercedes, and he didn't even have a license. And I says, no, Alan, it's raining, you know. I'm gonna drive that car, you know. Okay, Alan, no license, no. He's barefoot, you know. He's drunk. I mean. And I'm going, Alan, I'll follow you. If you have to drive the car, I'll follow you. But it's raining. Be careful, you know. So we take off, you know, and I'm following him. I don't remember what car I was in. But we're down this winding road, and I'm following him. And all of a sudden, I know the road's winding, so I back off, you know. And I'm following him. And I'm going, so all of a sudden, I see the side of the Mercedes. I'm not supposed to see the side of the car. So I go up there, and he's in the ditch. And going, what happened? I'm going, I wanted to slap the shit out of him, man. Look what you did to Roy. Oh, God, get in this fucking car. And I drove him home. It wasn't far from his house. Drove him home. I cussed him out the whole damn way, man. And I had AAA, so the whole thing, So I called AAA, had them meet me there. That car's in the ditch. I says, pull the car out of the ditch. I will pay you whatever you want. Just I explained to him what happened, man, who it was. And I said, I'll pay you whatever you want. Just take this car out of the ditch and get it to Alan's house. And I can't do that. The cops, blah, blah, blah. So he kept looking up the road and he seen that no cops were coming. He goes, where are we going? I said, follow me.
Got lucky on that.
We got to Alan's house. I said, Alan, write this guy a check for $200, man. We just kept you out of jail, man. I was so mad at him. God almighty, I wanted to kill him. And he ran upstairs. I think he was, he didn't want to hear it, man. I don't know, but oh yeah. But, he had a Jeep and he tried to jump close to his house, tried to jump a bridge and tried to go up one side and fly over the other. That's when Ronnie, I don't know if you've seen my movies where he walks into the dressing room and he's pulled his shirt down. He's showing all the black and blue marks and his eyes are black and blue. And, it was right about that point Ronnie was going, man,
you need to stop that.
Yeah, it's either Gary or Billy or Alan or Leon or they're crazy, I mean, Ronnie didn't drive. I mean, people say that he didn't have a license, but I don't really know, but he didn't really ever drive. When me and him went somewhere, I always drove. I always drive anywhere we ever went with the guys.
Greg, while we're on the Alan subject, go ahead and mention those two sayings that Alan used to say all the time. Remember that you talked about?
Yeah, yeah. He if he was always going to say something, he was going, "Hey, looky here, looky here. Hey, looky here, And then if you were saying something and you were going, I know I'm right. And he goes, hey, if everything was right, what would be left, If everything's right, what's left,
A good old Alan. All right, well, we'll move on to another question here. Okay, we got this one about Brad Faulkner says, how about the story behind Leon's bobby hats gifted from Sally of Lay Down Sally?
Sally, she is the woman in my videos when me and Dean and Alan are all in the boat. And Sally is the lady in the front kind of holding the boat while Dean, the other boat that Dean gets off Alan's boat, he gets on that other boat. That's Dean's parents' boat, big boat. So Sally's in the front of the boat, kind of like holding the boat so it don't go away. She's one that's built really nice. But yeah, that's Lay Down Sally from the song. Yeah. And yeah, she's an English, real reputable man. God almighty, Sally took me to Keith Moon's house when we first went to Europe. She took me all to the places where you couldn't get into unless you were a big time star, and all the stars around London, just rock stars, really. Yeah, it was a real VIP place. You had to be somebody to get in there. And she took me all to those places all around London. We were driving around in her little, one of those really small Austin Mini. Yeah, it was and this was in 70. 74, a little mini, man, you know, on the wrong side of the road. And really cool little cars that were flying around. You know, streets over there real small. Yeah, it's real cool. I was the only one that could drove over there on the wrong side of the road, man. John Butler tried to drive over there, and he sideswiped like 3 cars or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah,
get
it
used
was
to.
not funny, but
Well,
I,
while we're over in Europe, Shane Hobson has a question. Wants to talk about the brawl in Germany.
oh yeah, that that happened a lot. So I was in that room when this was all going down. John Butler and Gary were in there, and Ronnie was in there, and they were all, man, it was getting hot in there, and I don't remember what the whole thing was about. It was something like Ronnie wasn't happy about the way things were going, and I guess it's escalated into something about Gary, and I don't know. I had stepped out of the room or something for a little bit. I remember being in there, and it was just like, same old kind of stuff, and I'd seen it before, and then all of a sudden there was a lot of commotion, and I went in there, and Ronnie had busted a beer bottle over John Butler's head, so he's held his head like, oh, and Gary's bleeding bad, and I think I grabbed towels and stuff and tried to. His hand was bleeding. His left hand is bleeding really bad, and I don't know. That's all I remember. But he bled all over that room and out the room and down the hallway and all the way to his room. And I remember they had to pay for a lot of carpet and damage. And Gary, my God, what a trooper, man. Because it was just him and Alan. And his left hand's all cut up, and I mean, my God, I seen that man playing, and you could see the pain, and you could just see the pain, but he knew he had to do it, I mean, he just stepped up there like a big boy, and oh God, I couldn't even imagine. His hands were cut up, and he was playing, and I couldn't even imagine. But he did through it until he healed, and then he still didn't have Ed. So yeah, man, that was during the Europe tour. So that first Europe tour. So well, the second one, because John Butler was with us. That had to be in the '75 tour, because John wasn't with us on the '74 tour. God, when I first started with the band, Ed King was the damn road manager. When we made $5 a day per diem, that's how small they were when I started. We made $5 a day per diem. Ed King was the road manager, settled the shows and all that. And it was like when we went home from the first part of that first tour after we went to a record plant and did that album that some guy named Lee Walsh, who was just a DJ from a radio station that Ed and I had gone to and done radio shows when I first got with the band, and he became like the road manager, and then we got a guy named, we had called him Henny Emmerich, and that was during Alan Walden's thing when he managed the band, and that was like the first people. Yeah, but Ed, it was our first. That's how small it. Like we made $5 a day, and Ed settled the shows. And the first shows we did, some of them we didn't make a lot of. They didn't make a lot of money. There's not enough money to even put gas in the bus, in the van, and the stuff. So they'd use my credit card, and then they'd pay me back. And then we talked about Big Blue, the equipment truck that Lacey put together was our first equipment truck. That was the one that you see a picture of Kevin and Alan Walden and the band all in the back of that truck. That was Big Blue, the truck that they used to haul equipment. I was a little 14-foot bobtail. it got too small for us after 1974. So
Okay.
what's next?
All
I
right.
know I got off on some weird
Then
stuff, but that's what happened.
probably got time for a couple more questions here. Tony Brock.
Oh man, we're running about a half hour right now.
Yeah, we can get two more out, I think, here. How about Tony Brock says he wants to know a little about Linda Blair.
Oh, you know what? Didn't you say something about Karen
Yeah,
Weber?
Karen. Yeah, she was going to try
Says
to
she can
try to.
contact Linda Blair. Yeah, she's a real good friend of ours, man. God Almighty knows, you know. I mean, yeah, we met her in Hollywood, you know, and Bob Burns kind of like freaked out over meeting her, you know, but she was real cool. But dang, she wasn't 15 or something. We met her, and oh dang, Ron Eckerman was just thought we was all going to go to prison for having this young 16, 15-year-old girl. You guys don't take no pictures with her. You're all going to busted for contributing her. That was a little shaky. Yeah, me and Dean, I remember one time we were at this gig. It was one of these theaters, and I just remember me and Dean, Linda showed up with a friend of hers, and they were real young, and we got up in one of those box things, you know, where the rich people sit up there on the side with a little circular thing with the chairs in them. You know what they call them, boxes. I don't know what they call them, but me and Dean and Linda and her friend was up there watching the crew put everything together, smoking hash, you know. And I don't know, she was probably 16 or something, you know. But that was way over the seven year what they call the law, everything's over 7 years
to worry about that. Okay, well, we got one more question. This ought to wrap it up. And J.R. Coddles wants to know a little bit about Sweet Connie, and I think that could be a whole podcast. So,
oh God, man, yeah, you know. But there's a point I'd like to bring up about Sweet Connie and some of the charges against some alleged charges against one of the Skynyrd guys. You know, when we toured, Steve Gaines and ARTIMUS, Steve Gaines never messed around on Teresa ever. You know, he just, that wasn't his thing. You know, he was a family man. He just wasn't interested in anything like that. Nor was ARTIMUS. You know, he was married to Pat, and I never did ever see him fool around with any of the groupies or nothing. You know. And then when we got to Little Rock, where Sweet Connie is, Sweet Connie was trying to get with all the band guys, you know, and I won't say, you know, anything about who she was successful with being with, you know, but one thing I do remember was ARTIMUS did everything he could to avoid her. And she was kind of mad because ARTIMUS, she knew he was avoiding her. And so, you know, him not messing around with other women when he was married, and him not taking advantage of having that done to him by the most famous groupie in the world, this kind of like actions speak louder than words. He wasn't that sexually awkward, you know. So it just, those charges that are alleged against him don't make sense to me. And Chad, my son Chad, knows a lot about it. My Chad son's a private investigator, and he knows about this shit, you know, and he knows who did it, and knows the whole story. And you know, he ran out of money. You know, ARTIMUS ran out of money because nobody would help him, and I know what it's like to have lawsuits and have people go against you, and you just run out of money. You bring up one thing and they bring up something to keep it in there longer, and it's just sooner or later luckily I had enough to sustain where I had to take them to court, and I got 85 grand. I spent 85,000 to get 55,000 back. It doesn't make sense to me why they just didn't. I didn't even want that much, I mean, they spent more money not to pay me than it cost them to pay me. That kind of stuff's stupid. I don't know why they do it. They just flexing their muscles like you can't mess with us, Well, it's stupid. I don't know why they're like that. But anyways, yeah.
Hey, look,
okay,
look what we got, Craig.
Yeah, we got I seen it come on.
Well,
I can see clearly now. The lights are on.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And Craig, you got anything else you want to say?
Nope. We're over time now, man. I don't want to do this. So I just, if people are, we're gonna do a bunch of these, and I don't want people to spend a lot of their time every day, listening to, we're gonna try. I'm not gonna jibber jabber no more like we've been and talk about what we're going to do. I'm just going to be me, and then you're either going to watch it, you don't, hit this subscribe and like button down there. It don't cost you nothing. This ain't like no other place where they tell you to subscribe, and then you subscribe and a little thing pops up like donate some money. That ain't going to happen here. I just want to get it to 1,000. So I just want to see if the how to do a podcast for 101 dummies, they say get to 1,000. I want to see why, like I said, I'm gonna give Griff a third of whatever I make, and you can guarantee when I send him that first $1.57 for a royalty, I'm gonna tell you how much it is, and I'm gonna make 3 times that. No, he gets a third, so I don't know. He's gonna make $1 for every $3. For every $3 I make, I'm gonna send him $1.
I'll go to McDonald's and get a cup of coffee.
But I don't plan on making no money here in this. Like I said, and I just did this, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings if I could cover the cost of this $2,000 worth of equipment I bought, but this is kind of like doing, if you ever thought about doing a podcast, was a lot of people do these and they run out of options for things to do, and and I guess you can actually make money at these, but we're going to try it. We're going to see to get to 1,000, and then we're going to see what happens and how much we make, and we're going to tell you all about it here on How to Do a Podcast 101 about Lynyrd Skynyrd, or whatever.
Get your.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we're about to wrap this up with the Stone Roadies show. Me and Wicker and Leon, we really appreciate your coming and dealing with us, and we're going to just wrap that up, and we're going to say that was number 6. See ya.
See you next time.